right, so I am a senior marketing manager at MarketingProfs. If you guys want to connect, there's my Twitter and LinkedIn information. Somehow I got into LinkedIn early enough that I am actually Matt Snodgrass on there, and I don't have a number appended to my name. So you don't have to connect now. If you actually find this worthwhile at the end, you can. So no pressure. So just really quickly, has anyone out here, have you guys heard of MarketingProfs before? Has anybody heard of MarketingProfs? Is anybody a current member or has been a member in the past? Either a paid or a professional member? Some of us? Okay. Or a paid or a free member, rather. We'll talk about MarketingProfs in a second, but a little bit about me and how I got to where I am. I was a zookeeper in a former life. I actually have a degree in biology, so I was a zookeeper, and I realized that when I came out of school with So I realized I came out of school with $100,000 in debt and making $5 an hour minimum wage for zookeeper wasn't cutting it, so I got a quote-unquote real job. I worked as a lab scientist for a while. But being a zookeeper was the best job, I think probably the best job in the world. I mean, it was a phenomenal job, but it was minimum wage. You can't survive on that. And I worked in this science company, this lab company, and I started going out to departments of health around the country. It's right after 9/11, and I was installing test equipment and tests for bioterrorism attacks, for anthrax attacks, for things like that. And it was cool, but it also wasn't the safest job in the world, and I realized I maybe want to get out of doing the field work of that and maybe get in-house a little bit more. So I moved into tech support, which sort of morphed into an e-commerce role, and I did e-commerce for about 8 years, and then I came to MarketingProfs about 4 years ago as an e-commerce manager there. So kind of a long route to get into the world of marketing. And my story here is proof that Twitter gets you jobs. I was a follower and I was a fan of MarketingProfs on Twitter, and I was a member, and I saw a tweet come out that said, hey, we're looking to hire a couple of marketing managers, let us know if you're interested. And I responded. And it seemed like instantaneously I was barraged by direct messages from the marketing director at the time. She probably sent me like 20 DMs in a row in the span of 5 minutes asking me a million questions. So I went back and answered them and was excited and thought, cool, maybe this will lead to an interview. And this went on for probably a week or two, just constant direct messages. And she said, okay, great, I'd love to actually get you on a call for your second interview. And I said, well, was there a first interview? I mean, she said, no, this whole conversation we've had via Twitter was your first interview. So I thought, well, that was kind of strange because there was nothing formal about it. There was no interview. It was just a conversation. So then, getting ready to get on the call, she said this, and I don't know if you guys can read that, but it says, hey, I'm talking to 4 people about this job tomorrow. I'm an informal type of person, so while this is an interview, it'll be chat-like. And I said, great, that works for me. I'll talk to you tomorrow. And she says, oh, by the way, I forgot to ask you a question. Are you okay with cursing in the workplace? Truth be told, I have a foul mouth, and I usually swear like a drunken sailor. But don't worry, it totally doesn't affect your job prospects. I'm just curious. So I don't know if that should have been a red flag. She's no longer a marketing director, but that was sort of my interview process for MarketingProfs. Was a bunch of Twitter direct messages, and oh, by the way, do you mind if I swear a lot? Because I do. So, but you can get jobs through social media. Twitter got me this job. So this is who we are. MarketingProfs, a lot of you guys have heard of us. If you haven't, we provide resources for marketers, all kinds of resources on any marketing topic you can imagine, be it topic marketing, consumer packaged goods, both B2B, B2C, everything. I work in the Professional Development Solutions group, PDS, and we basically have 3 main products. One is our Pro membership, and that's our premium subscription level membership. We have MarketingProfs University, which is the online training courses that we offer. And then, just out of curiosity, does anyone work in a company that has thousands or even hundreds of marketers in this room? Yeah, maybe one? Okay. So, we also have this Enterprise Pro Plus, which is an enterprise solution that we have targeted to companies that have hundreds or thousands of marketers. So it doesn't apply to those people that I'm talking to when I do these things. But those are sort of the 3 sides of the business I work on. And I don't know how clearly you can see this, but this is just a quick breakdown of the things you get with our membership levels. You can sign up to be a basic member for free. And if you guys aren't currently free members, I encourage you to do so because there's a ton of great content you get access to. We have thousands of marketing articles. We put out 20 to 30 new marketing articles each week. We have emails, newsletters. We have a really cool discussion forum on our site. And we do a lot of these sponsored seminars and conferences. Then, when we get into Pro membership, that's when you get to see sort of what's behind the curtain. You get to see what's going on, in the world of Oz. We have these Pro seminars that we do every week. These are 60-minute seminars, and we have 10-minute
web tutorials and reports and all kinds of tools. So there's a ton more content that you get access to as a pro member when you sign up for the premium. And this is actually what one of our customer support reps wrote to a question a customer asked the other day. And she said basically, basic is like jogging on weekends. If you're a pro member, it's like competing in the Olympics. Or basic is being in a high school marching band, and if you're a pro member, it's like being in the Boston Philharmonic on the 4th of July. So we really do try to make a pretty clear delineation there between the two. But again, if you're interested and you want to check it out, membership is absolutely free. You can sign up and see if you like there. And then what I manage is MarketingProfs University, and these are our online training courses that we offer. So if you have a very acute or very specific need to get up to speed on something, be it content marketing or search marketing or marketing writing or email marketing, a specific topic, we have these courses. And we offer what we call our deep dive courses, and those are anywhere between 6 and 12-hour courses, so those are more in depth. We have these quick studies that are anywhere between 60 minutes and 2 hours, so they're much shorter. You can get through them in a day in one sitting. And then we also have in-person workshops. We travel around the country, we do these workshops. We also bring workshops to various companies, so a lot of different ways to train folks. So enough about MarketingProfs. If you guys have questions, I'd be happy to answer them. So let's talk about remarketing today. Curious, anybody out there doing remarketing currently in their efforts? Okay, a couple people. Good. So if I touch on things you guys already know, bear with me. I want to make sure that we're all on the same page as I go through this intro. So with remarketing, we ask ourselves, wouldn't it be nice if you could get in front of all the people who have raised their hands, who have expressed interest in your product or your service, who have come to your website during a specific time period, maybe during the last month or the last week or even during the last 24 hours. Well, with remarketing, you can do that. We have the ability to get directly in front of these people who have directly said in the last 24 hours, yes, I'm interested in you and what you have to offer. So remarketing will help you turn yourself into a marketing superhero. It's faster than a speeding email, more powerful than your house is. And for us, your usage may vary, but for us, it's been able to convert for us at our lowest cost of all the external marketing of anything that we've done. So it's a phenomenal tool. So before we get started, we're talking about remarketing, and there are a lot of tools out there you can use to do remarketing. I'm talking about remarketing today just from a Google standpoint, but there are half a dozen different, probably dozens, different companies who will let you do remarketing. I'm just focusing on Google. So I know some of you guys might be using AdRoll, might be using some other companies. That's all well and good, and those are great companies. I'm just focusing on Google today because it's probably one of the easiest ones to get set up, and it's probably the most widespread. So here's what we'll cover today. We're going to talk about what remarketing is, how you can use it, how it works, how and where it can be used, quickly how to set it up. And one of the things I want to make sure everybody leaves here with is understanding that this is a really easy technology to set up. It may seem like it's daunting. You can really get deep into the weeds with this, and you can do a lot of customization, but on its surface, it's a very easy thing to set up, and I'm going to show you how. And then if we have time, I'm going to go through some real-world examples of how we use it in MarketingProfs and some of the results we've seen. And if you guys have questions, if you have any questions during this, please feel free to stop me. Raise your hand. I would love this to be a dialogue and not just me talking for the next 45 minutes. So feel free to interrupt at any time. So the question is, have you been cookied today? Well, what the heck does that mean? So I've talked to a bunch of you this morning. I'm looking out, and for the next hour, I'm hopefully going to remember a lot of faces in here. And so if I were to see you in the future, tomorrow or next week or next month, I would have some recollection. I'd have some connection that you guys were in this room today. And maybe you asked a specific question, or maybe we talked about a specific topic. But I would have that in my memory, so that I would have some sort of connection, and we'd have that connection to one another. Well, digital devices don't have that sort of same connection. So what they do is they put cookies on your machine. When you visit a website, a little tiny text snippet goes into your browser, and it says, this person was on this page at this time, and here's some of the things they did. So cookies allow that digital, quote-unquote, memory to be in place. It allows us to maintain that state. So if you put something in your shopping cart, and then you leave and you come back to that website, your shopping cart will still be there. You don't have to start the process over. You don't have to begin from scratch again. And these cookies are the basis of what remarketing is used for. Because what we do with remarketing is we say, when you come to a specific website, or you do a certain thing, or maybe you don't do a certain thing, these cookies let us know. All right? They let us know that you were there and that you were interested in X, Y, or Z. So then what we can do is we can put ads in front of you that show your interest in X, Y, or Z. So we're talking about something that's essentially a means of behavioral retargeting, right? And like I just said, one of the things to note, you're going to hear me repeat several things in this multiple times throughout this. I'm going to tell you multiple times how easy this is. I'm going to show you the steps to go through this, and how to get these working multiple times. So I'm doing this because really it is as simple as I'm making it out to be, and I want to make sure that you walk out of this room, remembering 3 or 4 very key points. So you will hear me repeat some stuff multiple times. But what we're talking about with remarketing is we're targeting customers based on specific action they've taken. So if they've come to your website and maybe they have looked at a few pages and you want to serve them an ad, or you want to get them to do something, take an action based on the pages they've looked at. Or if they put something in a shopping cart, if we're talking about a B2C transaction, they put something in a shopping cart but haven't purchased it, we can serve them ads based on those things. But the important part is that it's based on their previous internet actions. So that's what those cookies are used for, so we know what those actions are. So, put it another way, we're interacting with people who have previously engaged with your brand at some level. The example is an abandoned shopping cart. Does anybody know where this screenshot came from, what app that is? Does anybody not know? So that's from Facebook. Have you ever been to Amazon.com and looked at something and then jumped to Facebook and like 1 second later that thing is right there in the right-hand column? It's kind of creepy, it's kind of Big Brother-ish. That is Amazon remarketing. So this is just an example of kids' pajamas. I was actually on the Linksys website. I was looking for routers for our house. We have a house and apparently the walls are made of lead, so I feel like I need to have an extender in our house. So I was looking at these, and then I jump over to Amazon later, or I jump over to another website later, and I'm served these Amazon ads. Now, I wasn't looking at Amazon. I wasn't on Amazon looking for routers. I was actually on the Linksys website. But they are serving these ads through Amazon to get me to go to Amazon to buy their product through the Linksys store on Amazon. Another example is my son loves Star Wars, and we play a lot of board games in my house. So we were looking at this Star Wars board game that came out, or that is coming out. So we were looking at it and reading about it, looking at the pictures. And then every website I go to, I'm served this ad here for Star Wars because I've expressed some interest in it, so it's going to follow me wherever I go. So what do we use this remarketing for? What are these ads that you see that sometimes you feel like are following you around? It's to get a person to take an action after they visit your site. You want them to come back and do something. We've already talked about how you can use it for e-commerce. You can use it to get them to buy a product. But for a lot of us, we're not specifically trying to get someone to buy a product from our website. A lot of us in the B2B world are trying to get other actions to take place. And I'm going to call them, everything we're going to talk about today is going to be conversions. So whether it's to sign up for a registration for something, a webinar, or an event, or a virtual conference that you're hosting, or a meeting, or anything, request for information, download a white paper, whatever that action is, we're just going to call these all generically conversions today. So we could talk, it could be an e-commerce transaction, or it could be download a white paper. These are all the conversions that we're trying to do. But essentially, you're trying to get people who have come to your site and didn't do the action you want to then do that action. And it's up to you to define what that action is, and it can be anything. All right, this is a picture of 5 baby sloths in a bucket. This has absolutely no bearing on what I'm talking about. People love pictures of animals, especially baby animals. So one of the things we talk about here is correlation, and there is absolutely no correlation between the sloths and what I'm talking about today. But when we're talking about pay-per-click advertising, most people want to know, hey, I served my ads to this many people clicked it, and I got this much revenue from it. It's pretty much a standard flow, and that makes sense, especially when you're in the B2C marketplace. But when we're in the B2B marketplace, we don't have that direct correlation. Because chances are, if you're selling industrial scale HVAC supplies, someone is not going to click one of your ads and then come to your website and drop $350,000 in a transaction. That's not going to happen. Whatever your product is, it's not going to come directly from a click. So we just have to be aware that we look at the metrics of these things a little bit differently when we're talking about the B2B world, because things happen differently, and it's a much more granular process. There are many more stages that people will go through in terms of research, in terms of analysis, in terms of comparison than you would in B2C. So what we can do is at each stage of this funnel, we can look at direct correlation. How many people saw our ad and downloaded our white paper? How many people saw our ad and came and then requested more information or requested a salesperson reach out? So we can do that direct correlation with those finite actions. But trying to tie the remarketing ads to a big sale is not always something that we're able to do. Now how it works, there are basically 5 things you have to do. Well, really 4 things you have to do. Is that 50? The first thing you need to do is you need to define your audience lists, and you need to determine your goals. What is it you're trying to get people to do? And where do you want them to do it? On which pages of your site do you want this to happen? And what is it that you want to have happen? So that takes up the majority of time when you're setting up remarketing. You know, that probably could take 50 to maybe even 60 to 75% of your time is figuring this out. Once you get that done, you are home free because you've done the hard part. Adding the code to your website is really easy, and I'll show you how to do that. That is barely a sliver. Then uploading your creative, of course, because you have to have different creatives and you have to be testing your creatives, and so that takes some time too. And then you set your bid amounts and you determine how much you want to spend on this. But the lion's share of the time that you're going to spend in remarketing is that first part. It's hard up front, and then it has a pretty big drop off in terms of the time you're spending. Now when we set up remarketing and when we want to get these ads in front of people, it's all about the lists. And your list, as I talked about in that last slide, can be anything you want. It can be anything. Visitors to a specific page, people who have entered your funnel at a certain stage, people who came to you from a certain site or from a certain campaign or with a certain referral idea, people who have clicked on an email link, people who have started to fill out a request for information form but haven't completed it. Whatever your website is set up to capture in terms of information is where you can put this, or is what you can create a list from. So that, again, that is what takes the time, is sitting down and figuring out, okay, you might have multiple funnels on your website. You might have multiple entry points in those funnels or in that one funnel. So you may need to set up remarketing in different areas for that, because someone who's at the top of your funnel has different needs and different desires and different interests than someone who is 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 steps down the funnel. So you'll want to make sure that you are very clear on what your funnel looks like, very clear on the action that you want the people to take, and then very clear about the pages that you identify first. You can set up remarketing through either Google AdWords or Analytics. How many people in here are currently using AdWords for their company? For anything, pay-per-click, anything at all? Okay, so probably half of them, maybe a little more. How about Google Analytics? Who's using Analytics? Hopefully everybody. If I don't see every hand in here, I'll be disappointed. You can set up your remarketing through either one of those 2 Google tools. AdWords is, for lack of a better word, almost dummy-proof. It's really easy to set up in AdWords. It's almost mind-numbingly easy. They give you a very finite amount of choices, and they walk you through it very clearly on setting it up. When we get into Google Analytics, it becomes more complicated because you have a lot more information to deal with. You can slice and dice your data a lot more granularly and get down to a lot more discrete levels. So it depends how and where you want to set this up. If you're doing this for the first time, I would recommend doing it through AdWords. And it's not hard to change that after you get it going, but I would recommend for the first time you're doing this, do it through AdWords because it's easier. And I'll show you later on in the presentation about just how easy that is. All right, this little guy's all by himself here. When we do remarketing, you have to make sure that you have a minimum cookie visitor threshold. And what that means is, if you have a page that gets 10 visitors a month, it's going to take you a long time to build up the number that you have until Google will let you serve remarketing to those people. So if you're going through AdWords, if you're using the AdWords tool, you need to get 1,000 people in that list, meaning 1,000 people have to come to that website and be cookied and be in your audience list before it will start serving these ads. If you're using analytics, analytics is much more granular, it's much more fine-tuned, you can, again, slice and dice more. They require you just to have 100 people. But the point is, if you have this website, or if you have a specific page on your site that you'd love to retarget people from that page, you got to make sure you have enough people coming to the page to make it worthwhile. Because if you do only get 10 people a month that comes to that page, it's going to take you a long time to build up these minimum numbers. So it's important to be aware that it may not work for every single page that you have. It may not be valid for every product you offer or every stage of the funnel. You've got to actually make sure that you can hit these numbers. Because you might have only 10 people who visit that page in a month, but if you're getting one of those people a month to convert for $200,000, then you don't need remarketing. You know, you're doing this is great. If you've got a page where 50,000 people are hitting it a month, that's perfect for remarketing. So you need to just look at your stats and figure out how many people are hitting each page. But you've got to have a minimum number. So we've built all these things. We've put it all together, we've got our lists, we've got our code in place, we've got our creative loaded up, and then the most important part of this is burning it all down. You have to put together what's called a burn list. And the burn list is simply when someone has completed the action you want them to complete, stop remarketing to them. Once I bought that router, I don't want to keep seeing ads and ads and ads for routers. Once I bought those kids' pajamas, I don't need you to show me those ads 50 times. One, it wastes your money because you don't need to keep paying to have those served to people. Two, it annoys me, and it's going to make you think, God, these guys don't know what the hell they're doing. Why are they serving me ads? I've already bought this product. I don't need to see it again. And the third thing is it's going to, it just impinges on your credibility. It makes people wonder, do you really know what's going on and what you're doing? So the important part is this burn list. And again, yes?
What if it's an offline conversion? What if I walk in and buy, call the salesperson at that point, and I'm converted and buy my industrial HVAC from Joe Smith, the sales guy?
So there is no good way to track that. If you look at it online and then you decide to buy it offline, there's no good way to track that. So the way to move around that is the duration that you serve those ads to people. And so you realize, I know my sales cycle, and I'm just making up numbers here. My sales cycle is 18 months. 18 months is too long. Let's say I know my sales cycle is 6 months, whatever the number is. You know that at 3 months, things happen, and at 5 months, things happen, and at 6 months, things happen. So you'll know, or you'll need to figure out a point during there, when do we stop serving those ads to people? If they've come to our site, and they've been in this remarketing group for 30 days or 60 days or 90 days. Let's stop serving them ads after that point. So you want to stop serving them ads before that happens. Now, there are these cases where the sales cycle might be compressed. It might be 2 weeks and you get a sale. And so you might still serve those guys ads. And that's the reality, and that does happen. But by and large, if you know your sales cycle, if you feel confident that it's pre-dialed in, then you can say, okay, I know what's going to happen, and this is going to take 6 months, so after 4 months, I'm not going to serve this guy ads anymore because he is already in the funnel, and we know sort of where things stand, so we're not going to serve them anymore. E-commerce, we talked about, you use this to purchase a previously viewed product, the abandoned shopping cart. You can also use it to stimulate related or complementary product purchases. So if someone comes and buys a cell phone, for example, then you can use that information to serve them ads for cases or cables or chargers or something like that. Amazon's recommended list. Amazon does this remarketing in relation to that. Now this is something to watch out for, is attribution. And this sort of goes back to that sloth slide a few minutes ago where we have direct and indirect correlation. There's first touch and there's last touch attribution. So a lot of these products you're going to find have multiple touch points. It's not just click on this ad and make a purchase. That would be easy. Someone clicked on the ad, they made a purchase, I can directly tie those back one-to-one. That's a piece of cake. But what we have is we have multiple touch points throughout here. And you might actually have multiple touch points throughout your remarketing campaigns. You might serve a remarketing campaign to a person who's at the top of the funnel, and then when they move down lower, a different campaign, and then when they move further down the funnel, a different campaign. So all these touch points are going to be places of interaction that you have with the client. And so you need to know your house system, the things that you can track internally with your system. How does your system track? Does it track that first touch attribution? Or does it touch last touch attribution? Does it track that? Or can you, with your system, track every single point of attribution in there? And so what I mean by that is, in MarketingProfs, when we send out an email, you guys who are on our list know we send out a lot of emails. That's our thing. We send a lot of emails to people. And so we can see when a customer makes a purchase, I can look back at that account and say, gosh, this person, she has clicked on 45 of our different emails. I can see the date that, well, I can't see the date. I can see the actual attribution tag that we use, which in a way tells us the date. And I can see that stream all the way through. And it says, okay, so-and-so was engaged with us at this level, and then they went away for 6 months. And then suddenly they came back, and there was this rush, and they were engaged here, 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 here. And this is the last thing that they clicked on before they bought. Now, does it necessarily mean that that last thing is what influenced them to buy? Not necessarily, but we can see the stream of these touches, these attribution touches, and we can see here is what that person was interested in, and sort of it helps us get a better picture of our clients and our customers to see, what can we attribute that sales to? What's helping drive this? So you want to make sure that you are aware of your internal systems. Is it first touch? Is it last touch attribution that you have? Because if you have a remarketing campaign and it lasts 6 months, and a person might come through at multiple touch points, and the only thing you're tracking is that very first thing they clicked on, you can't guarantee that that's why they ended up making the purchase. Same thing with the last touch attribution. You can see the last action that they took before they made the purchase, but does that really tell you why? So it's just important to keep that in mind as you move through this process and you look at your systems. So here's a real world example of how we use it, and I'll go through this quickly. So this is MarketingProfs University. This is our online training website. This is our homepage here. So if someone comes to this page, I know that they're interested in training, in the training that we offer. If they drop off this page, I'm not specifically sure what they wanted to do here, what their intention is. They could be interested in the specific courses we have, or maybe the in-person workshops, or they want to learn about the instructors who teach these courses, or maybe they're interested in group purchasing. I don't know why they're on this website. So if I were to serve people remarketing, when they bounce off this page, it would have to be very generic. I know that they're interested in training. I know that they're interested in MarketingProfs University training, but I don't exactly know what aspect. So let's say they give us some more information, and the person clicks on this course link at the top. And then they come to our courses page, and now for our course page, we offer two different kinds. We offer these deep dives and quick study courses. So now if someone drops off here, I can serve them ads that are a little more specific to where they are in the funnel. So I know that they're interested in our courses. I can talk about the courses in my ad that's put up there. I can tell them a little bit more information. Well, let's say they go a step further and they actually click on one of these courses that we offer, and this one is called the B2B Lead Roundup. So this is an online course that we offer. And they come to the course page. There we go. They come to the B2B Lead Roundup course page, and now they're here. So now I know they're specifically interested in this topic, and they're interested in this course. So then they're further down in the funnel. I can serve them specific ads that say, oh, you're interested in this course. Here's how long it is. Here's who the instructor is. Here's how much it costs. Maybe I can serve them a promotion code to say, you know, save $100 when you register for this one course, that sort of thing. Best case scenario would be if they bought it. But the second best case scenario is they get to this point where they're on the registration screen. So they've shown us that they're interested in courses. We know which course they're interested in. They've shown their intent to actually register for it because they've got to this registry and then they bailed here. So I can serve them an ad here that says B2B Lead Roundup. You know, save $200 on the course if you register by this specific date. So I can put that urgency in there with a timed offer. I can put a savings in there. I can say whatever I want. But I know that I'm specifically talking about this one course here, B2B Lead Roundup. So at 4 different stages of the funnel, I'm serving people 4 different ads based on what their activities have been or what they've shown their interest in at that stage. And then the last page is, hey, congrats, don't forget your free course material. You register for the course, you get all this free stuff. This is where we put our burn code. So the burn code goes on this page. And this just says, if anyone reaches this page, don't serve them any more ads because they're already registered. We've already got them to do the action that we wanted them to do, and that was to register for the course. So we don't need to serve them any remarketing ads anymore. So here's a picture of that funnel that I just talked about. We have the home page up here where we're not really sure what they're interested in. We just know that they've clicked on our home page. Then they go to our course catalog page, so we can serve them ads at that point. Specific course page, and then down to the purple, the folks who've made it to the registration page. So you have specific ads, again, at each point in the funnel, based on what the action you want them to take at that point is. So that's how we use it from the e-commerce from the B2C standpoint. This is what it looks like in practice. So this website, Allflix, is just a site that tells you everything that's on Netflix at any one given time. So I was cruising around Allflix looking at stuff, and I saw one of my ads show up at the top there for Marketing Writing Bootcamp. Now this is a specific ad to this one course called Marketing Writing Bootcamp, and I put a promo code in there that says you can save $200 if you use this code when you register. I was looking at it at a later date, and I got this ad served to me. This is a much more generic ad. It's not graphics, it's just text-based, and it just says MarketingProfs University. And our goal here is to target people who have abandoned at the high level of that funnel. And it's just a reminder. Oh, by the way, don't forget that at one time you were looking at this MarketingProfs University course, or page rather, and if you're still interested, click through it. We're not offering a discount, we're not explaining what it is, we're not trying to sell them on anything, we're just using this as a reminder. And then this last example is awesome. So ClickZ is kind of one of our competitors, and they serve ads on their site, so they have it set up. So I was really pleased to find that my ad was serving on our competitor's site from Remarket. So this is another example of a different format of Marketing Writing Bootcamp. And register by this date, and early bird save, and there's the code for you to save. So you can see just in those 3 examples, I got 3 very different types of ads running, and it's targeted people based on where they are in the funnel. As I said, you can also use this for registrations. If it's a registration for an event like this maybe, a virtual event, a conference, if you want people to sign up for your email marketing list, you can remarket for that. One of the coolest things I ever saw a company do, big company that we work with, is they had these HR mandated sessions that they had to get thousands and thousands of employees to take by a certain date. So they said, you guys have to go to this page by February 1st. And so they went to that page, and as soon as the people hit that page, they were then cookied. And what the company would then do is then they would serve them ads that would say, don't forget, you have to take your training by February 28th. And these ads would show up when they were in Facebook, when they were on Amazon, when they were just browsing the web. But it was the company's way to make sure that they actually got people to come back and take the action they want, which was, again, not e-commerce related, not trying to make any sort of transaction, but the conversion was to watch these training videos, or this one training video. So they actually used remarketing to do that. This is a site called Roto World. It's a fantasy football site, and this is an old one. This is from 2014. But I love this because they serve ads in 4 places on this page. They have their top leaderboard, they have a poster here and a poster here, and it's cut off at the bottom, but there's an anchor board at the bottom as well. We were serving ads in 3 of these 4 places at one point when I went to Roto World to look at something for fantasy football. And it was up here, and the poster, and the anchor board all had MarketingProfs B2B forum ads because I had been on our site and I hadn't registered yet. So you can actually get good, you can get a real good rate of return when things like this happen, when you can serve multiple ads in the same place. All right, so we talked about it as a B2C tool, but we can also use it for B2B, for things like lead gen. Who here is in charge of, or who here has lead gen responsibilities? Anybody? Okay, some of us do, some of us do. The obvious and the easy thing is that you can use this to have someone complete a lead gen form. So if they come to your page, if it's an information request page, or if it's a sign up for a newsletter page or anything, you can serve remarketing ads to kind of pull them through that, to download white papers or reports, guides, that sort of thing. But where it's really powerful is using it to pull people through that conversion funnel. So if they drop out of the top, you want to pull them to that next stage. So you're going to serve them ads based on that activity at the top of the funnel. Once they get to that next stage, they've completed the action, whatever that action is. Maybe it's download a white paper. After they download a white paper, maybe the next thing you'd love for them to do is to watch a video. Maybe it's a customer testimonial video, or maybe it's a quick 2-minute sales pitch on the product or whatever. So you then use remarketing to pull them down through that next stage of the funnel. Once they complete that, maybe there's a third action that you want them to take. It could be to reach out to a sales rep. It could be contact us for more information. Whatever that next action is, you can use remarketing to pull them along step by step by step in the funnel. You can't drop people from the top of the funnel to the bottom in one click. It's not going to happen. There are too many stages in between that they have to go through. But what you can do is you can, again, move them from point A to point B to point C to point D, and then suddenly they're one step above the bottom of the funnel, and you've got them doing a product evaluation. So here's how we do that on the MarketingProfs site. Now I showed you MarketingProfs University, which is our online training. This is our standard MarketingProfs page. They're 2 different ones. It's kind of confusing. They're 2 completely different websites. So this is MarketingProfs. This is our homepage. And if someone abandons here, I have no idea. I have no clue what they wanted here. At least if you came to our training site, MarketingProfs University, I knew you were interested in training. But here, you might be looking at what do we have going on in real time, or maybe you want to see what events we're doing and when we're coming to your city, or maybe you're interested in training, or maybe you want to read some of these articles. I don't know what you're doing at this point. We don't know what the users do. So we don't remarket to anyone who just comes to our homepage and drops off, because we can't tell what they're interested in. And that's one of the things to keep in mind, depending on how your website, your homepage, your landing page, wherever you're dropping people is set up. If you have 50 different things that they can do on that page, like we do, it makes it hard to identify what they want until they actually take an action. If it's a very specific landing page, or if it's a very specific website that you would only be here for one reason only, it's much easier to remarket to them. So in this case, the user did us a favor, and she clicked on this training link up top. And okay, now I know she's interested in training solutions. I don't know if she wants training just for herself as one person. Maybe she just wants to sign up for a course on content marketing or B2B lead gen. Maybe she's got a team of people, or maybe she's got a whole group of 500 marketers she wants to get involved. I don't know, but I know she's interested in training. So at this stage in the funnel, I can serve those ads that talk about training. Well, luckily for us, she clicked on this green large teams icon here, and it goes to our Enterprise Pro Plus site. That's a mouthful, Enterprise Pro Plus. So she's got a team of hundreds of marketers, and she wants to learn about it. So if she bails at this site, I have a lot of options because I can serve ads then that maybe talk about taking a product tour, or maybe I put that video up in front, I can stand that video up in front and ask people to watch that, or download a brochure or the FAQ. So what we're doing on this page actively is that we're testing a bunch of different variations of ads. One of the ads that we're testing is for this button right here, Get a Quote. It probably wouldn't surprise you when I tell you that that ad set we're doing that says Get a Quote is our worst performing ad set we've ever run. Because at this point, no one really even knows what the product is yet. So for me to serve them ads that say Get a Quote for what? I don't even know what I'm getting a quote for. So those ads are doing very poorly for us. And this is fine. You know, we're trying to experiment and learn these things along the way as we do that. We've had a lot of success in getting people to watch this video. We've had a lot of success in asking people to take a product tour and download the brochure. So those are our 3 big winners on this page. But if someone bails from a page like this, at least you have an idea of where they are, and you have a limited number of intentions that they could have had at this point. Again, best case scenario is they get to this information request page and they bail out here. So they fill out the form, all well and good, because your sales folks can contact them, or you can take them through the next step of your drip marketing campaign or whatever you have set up. But if they bail here, you know, again, that they have shown you multiple steps of what they're interested in. So this is just like when we saw someone was registering for one of our courses. We get them to this point, and we can serve them ads to show them, to bring them back and try to fill out this information request. So again, here's the same funnel. This is our B2B funnel. Based on where they are in the funnel, you're going to serve them specific ads. You're going to serve them very specific ads based on what they're doing. Once you get down to the evaluation stage, you don't need to remarket to people anymore. They're already looking at your product, they're evaluating it. You probably don't need to serve them ads. Whoops, sorry, I know some of you are taking pictures of that. I'll put that back up. All these slides will be available after the fact too, if you guys want them. So, all right, there's another tool called RLSA. This is remarketing list for search advertising. So these are 2 pages, and I hope you guys can see this somewhat clear. These are 2 pages, and I searched for the same term, iPad mini, on both of these. Does anyone see what the difference is on these 2 pages? Just shout it out if you can see it. Yeah, exactly. Ads and no ads. So on the right-hand side, there are ads up here. And I know it's kind of hard to see. My apologies. But there are ads up there. So what you can do with search advertising is if someone has come to your page, you can target the search ads specific to them. So I went to Apple's page, and I was looking at iPad minis. I then did a search for iPad mini, and the first ad that comes up is for the iPad mini, sponsored by Apple. So what you can do is you can target the people who've already been to your page. If you know someone is looking for, I'll go back to my HVAC example. If you know someone is, if you provide HVAC equipment and someone comes to your page, and then every time they search for HVAC, you can make it so that your stuff stands up there in the top. So it's a really, really powerful tool that's part of remarketing. It's called Remarketing List for Search Ads. And again, if someone has been to your site, you know what they're searching for, you can key in on some of those key terms, and you can make sure that your site is always up there at the top. How are we doing on time? 12:45. Okay. All right, so back to the question that was asked earlier about what happens if someone does something, takes an offline action that we can't go to register. Well, now we talk about the timing and the duration. So how long before you show things to people, right? Anybody know what movie this is from? Swingers. Swingers. So in the movie Swingers, our character, John Favreau, Mikey here, he goes to a club, he meets a girl, he gets her phone number, and then he obsesses for the rest of the movie. When should I call her? How long should I wait till I call her? Should I wait 1 day or 2 days, 3 days? Should she call me and should I call her? The whole movie is him obsessing over this. And that's what I want you guys to do. I want you to obsess over this and figure out how long until we serve ads to someone who's been to our website. We've seen how Amazon does it, right? It's like 1 second after you leave Amazon, you see this in your Facebook feed already. Do you want to be the Amazon of your industry? Maybe. Do you want to serve that to them that fast? If it's a short term, if it's a B2C transaction, yeah, you do. Because I'm interested in looking at that thing right now. The more you can serve that to me and the more quickly I can see that, the more powerful it's going to be. When we're talking about B2B, these are high cost, these are long sales cycles. So you may not want to serve those ads immediately the second they leave your website. You may not have to do that. You have more time, you have weeks and months to do that. Right? So I want you to be more like Mikey and less like Big Brother. And less like the second you leave my site, I'm going to bombard you with these ads. So that's something that you can set up in the system as well. You can set up how long it is until they actually start seeing your ads. You can also you can set how long you want them to see your ads for. Google will let you serve remarketing ads for 540 days. That's 18 months. So depending on your sales cycle, you might want to show 1 ad a week for 18 months. Or if you have a smaller product, you might want to show it 5 times a day for 2 weeks. It entirely depends on your product sales cycle and the niche that you're in. So how many times is enough? How many times do you actually have to show someone an ad before they take action? So this is a poll. What do you guys think? What is the ideal number of times that we should show someone an ad before they take action? Shout it out. What do you guys think?
15.
I heard a lot of 7s. I heard a lot of 8s. Surprisingly, 7 seems to be the most common number that people think. The unfortunate truth is 7 is 100% the wrong number. So there's this reason that people think of the number 7 when it comes to this. And 7 is actually called Miller's Law, and it's tied to the amount of things that you can have in your working memory, that you can keep in short-term memory at any one given time, and that's been proven to be 7. There's no time in the advertising world to the number 7, which is a common misconception. And the reality is, I'm going to punk out on you guys here. The reality is that it depends. It's based on your purchase cycle. We've done a lot of experimentation with this, showing people ads multiple times a day for multiple days in a row, multiple times a day, once a week, 1 time a day, every day a week. It all depends on your product. It all depends on your purchase cycle. So what we have found from an e-commerce standpoint is that our ideal duration is 60 days. So we serve remarketing ads 60 days, 1 to 3 times a day for 60 days. And it seems like a lot, but those are the numbers that we have found that work the best for us. But again, it's going to be different for every product, every purchase cycle, every niche. This is what we just talked about, the number of times a person has to be exposed before a response is made. The other thing you want to keep in mind is you don't want to keep serving them an ad because eventually it gets wasted. It gets back to that, either they are just done seeing this and they're ignoring your ad and you're just spending money, or they've already taken the action, which hopefully you have your burn list set up. If you've never heard of this, I encourage you to check out a little pamphlet called Successful Advertising by Thomas Smith. He wrote it in 1895. And in this pamphlet, it says that 20 is the ideal number. This is not necessarily true, but he goes through each of these times a person sees your ad. The first time you put an ad in front of a person, and in 1895 we're talking about print ads, of course, but the first time you put an ad in front of a person, they don't even notice it. The second time they see it and read it and ignore it. And then the 5th time they're tired of seeing it. And then the 9th time they ask their friends about it because there's got to be something here. And the 14th time they start to want it. And the 15th time they curse their poverty for not being able to afford it. The 19th time they save their money. And then the 20th time they buy it. So this is actually, it's a pretty powerful thing, and it's still taught today in marketing courses. But look at Thomas Smith's Successful Advertising. You can pull it up on Wikipedia. It's pretty cool. All right. Now, when we talk about remarketing ads, you've got to be careful because there are places that you don't want your remarketing ad to show up. Google will allow you to set those places. So I don't want my MarketingProfs stuff setting up on like sexually suggestive sites. I don't want our ads on places like that. Things that talk about military and international conflict. I don't want my ads to show up there. There are certain sites that have very negative emotional connotations that I don't want my ads showing up. Juvenile, gross, bizarre humor, stuff like that. I don't want my ads to be served on, say, the website of MTV's Jackass or something like that. There are certain places where I want these things to show and don't. So you got to be careful, and you got to make sure that you set your limits on where you don't want things to show. There are also industries and there are also companies that do not, under any circumstances, want to use remarketing or retargeting. Can you guys think of anything, a company that would not want to use remarketing? Anybody have any ideas?
Healthcare.
Healthcare? Why?
HIPAA laws.
HIPAA laws? Yep. You could use remarketing to say advertise for a specific doctor, but
They're looking up a certain type of medical thing you can't
yes,
go back.
exactly. How about oh my gosh, I'm completely blanking. What's the website that just got hacked last year? That website where you could Ashley Madison. All I had to say, all I said was hack. Like 10 people do it. So yeah, Ashley Madison is a website where you could supposedly sign up and have an affair and talk to members of the opposite sex. The reality is it was a bunch of guys talking to computers, and it was just a scam. But if you went to Ashley Madison's website, you wouldn't necessarily want to see their remarketing ads showing up on your computer, because your wife maybe uses that computer, your husband, or your kids. Like, that's not something that you don't want to serve remarketing ads if you're Ashley Madison, because all you're going to do is turn off your clientele. How about divorce lawyers? That's another industry or company that would not want to show remarketing ads, because, boy, that's a real kick in the pants.
Unless they've been to the Ashley Madison site.
Right. I'm at the home computer, I'm starting to see ads for divorce lawyers, and like, should I know something? What's going on? So you want to be careful in where you serve these things, and you need to determine whether you want to actually serve these things. So let's talk about how to make it happen. We've talked about, you've got to define your goals. What are you trying to do here? Are you looking for clicks? Are you trying to get people to make a conversion, whether that's a purchase or take another action? Are you just looking to up the time that people spend on your website? Maybe you're looking for brand lift, or maybe you're looking for brand sentiment or intent. So you can influence all those things through remarketing. Now, in terms of brand lift and that sentiment and intent, you would actually have to do a poll before to get sort of a rating and a baseline where people are. Run your remarketing and then run a poll after to see if you have any lift there. But there's a lot of different ways that you can use this. So you need to figure out what your goals are and what you want people to do. Then you have to identify these web pages. You have to find out where you want people to take this action. And you might have multiple pages, it might be one page. As I said before, you might have one funnel, multiple entry points, you have multiple different funnels. You just have to figure that out and identify the pages. You then need to set up these audiences. So you need to say, everyone who came to this page and didn't do this thing, or everyone who came to this page and spent more than 2 minutes on our site, or everyone who went here and here and here but didn't go here. So you set up those audiences. Here, oh boy, that looks bad, doesn't it? Is that at all legible? No? Sort of. All right, well, this is AdWords. If you're in AdWords, to set it up, all you have to do is go into this left column, and you have to click Audiences, and you create a new audience. Then they'll basically give you some choices, and I'll just tell you. You can choose like visitors who have visited this page, or visited this page and not another page, or visited this page and another page. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4. There are really only 6 choices you can choose in AdWords of who you want to remarket to. It's very easy. You just set up, hey, they came to this page, but not this page. You set up what your membership duration is, and bang, you have your audience set up. When we come to analytics, it's a little bit more complicated. In analytics, you have to go into the admin tab up there, and you click on the remarketing link right there. And then you create a new audience by just clicking this create new button, pretty self-explanatory at this point. Here's where it gets powerful that you guys probably can't read. You can slice and dice on any of the data that analytics captures. So you can serve based on age, gender, the continent or the country or the city or the state or the geographic location they're located in. Yes?
That's the research I'm going over in my mind. Most of our customers are in Asia. Do you
Okay.
have challenges with that? I'm assuming you guys are global.
That's a great question. We are global. We serve all of our ads in English, though. So all of our content is in English. So really, the thought process is that you're not coming to our website if you are not at least able to read full language.
So we have 4 sites, 4 different languages, Chinese, Japanese.
Okay.
But
So then,
particularly China, that's a big market that we're trying to conquer.
so then you would specify that your remarketing would happen just from that site or that page. It would happen just in China. All the ads would have to be in Chinese. But yes, you could certainly specify that. But you essentially would have 4 different campaigns running on each of those 4 sites that you have. Each one would be in its own language, targeting people in that country only. So, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Sort of? Okay. So you can slice and dice on all these different features. You can look at the behavior. You can look at some of the other things that they've done on your site, how long they've been on a page, the number of pages they visited, where they came from, the campaign they came in under. So you can use a lot of specificity. All right. I was going to have you guys go to this page, but I'm not going to. So here's what I was going to do. If you were to go to this page, you go to one of our home pages. And just like the Dagwood sandwich here, what I can do is I can slice and dice layer upon layer upon layer upon layer. So I can tell from my analytics, I can look at anyone who came to this page in between, let's say, January 20th and 22nd, who is in the state of North Carolina, who was on a mobile device. I can get that specific and see. So then I would know that everyone in this room went to this page, and I could serve you remarketing ads based on that. Now, the reality is I can't do that because I would not hit that minimum threshold of 100 people because there's not 100 people in this room. But that's just an example of how you can layer these things on top of one another. So again, you can look at people who came to your page in a certain day on a mobile device and were in a certain geographic location. So those are 3 slices. You could literally, you could make a 20 slice thing. Now we have to actually put this on the website. Oh gosh, this looks terrible. This is the easiest part of all that we do. You have this tag. If you have access to your website, you simply have to drop that tag in between, or drop that script in right before the closed body tag. If you don't, Google makes it easy, and it says, enter the name of your website administrator here, and you put it in, and it sends them an email. It says, please put this on this page at this point. You don't have to do anything. They have completely made it idiot-proof. So while it looks bad having to set these tags, and you might be like, well, what the heck is all this? You don't even need to worry about that. It's simply a snippet of code that has to go on any page that you want to do remarketing. It's very easy. And then you've got to generate your creative. So Google will let you put in 18 different sizes of creative. Now that's not to say you need 18 different pieces of creative for every campaign you're running, because that would be forever just making the creative. So there are 7 that you should start with. You should start with a default banner and leaderboard ads, a couple different sizes squares, and then a rectangle and the 2 skyscrapers. So those are seven sized ads that you should really start with when you're building creative for remarketing. But again, you're free to make all 18 if you want. It's just, it takes a lot of work. Here are some examples of the creative that we use in different sizes. So this is my leaderboard. Here are a couple of skyscrapers. Here are some poster ads that we use. And I've got a couple different styles running. So I have this green style, and I have this sort of kind of gray, green and blue cam style, and then I sort of have this plain blue. And the goal here is with these ads, I'm targeting different people at different stages of the funnel. This one is very specific. It has a date. It has a code. This one has a savings code in it. This one talks about, it doesn't talk about saving any money. It doesn't have a code. It's a different tag. It's, hey, meet the instructor, learn more about our instructor here. So there are a bunch of different ways you can serve these ads. And again, it's testing, testing, testing. It's experiment. It's trying to see what works and what resonates with people. A/B-Ts, always be testing. As I said at the beginning, there are other tools. You don't just have to use Google for this. Simplify, AdRoll, Rocket Fuel, QuantCast. Those are all different remarketing engines, remarketing software tools that you can use. It doesn't have to go through Google. That's what we use right now. We're going to start using AdRoll in 2016. But as of right now, we use Google for everything. So how are we doing on time? 1 o'clock. You guys want to see some results, or you want to call it here? What do you think? Want to see? All right, this will be fast. This is 5 minutes. Okay. So here's a snapshot of one of our campaigns that we ran. We served remarketing 5.5 million impressions. That seems like a lot. But remember, people have been sort of immunized against remarketing ads. You see ads on almost every page you go to, and 99% of the time we all tune them out. We know they're there, we don't even care, we just tune them out. And that's fine. We know that this is the reality of remarketing. So we served 5.5 million of those ads. 7,300 were actually clicked on. And of those, we had 84 converted clicks. So that doesn't, at the surface, that doesn't seem that great. 5.5 million impressions, and we only got 84 clicks from it. Now, to be clear, a converted click is someone who clicks on that specific ad and then takes the action. Either makes the purchase or downloads the white paper or requests information, whatever your conversion action is. That's what a converted click is. So we had 84 of those. And so our cost for a converted click is $275. Now what happens in this particular instance is that someone buys one of our training courses and they're $600. So we spend $275 to make 6. It's still positive. I'll take it. It's not the greatest number in the world, but it is positive. So we're making more than we spent, which is always a good thing. Where remarketing gets really, really powerful are these, the VTCs, or the view-through conversions. And what a view-through conversion is that someone came to your site and took the action. In this case, they made the purchase. But prior to that purchase, they were served a remarketing ad. So at some point along the line, that person saw one or more of our remarketing ads. ads. And then later, they came to purchase. Now, it's not a direct correlation. We can't say that they clicked on an ad and made a purchase. But what we can say is they made a purchase after seeing one of our ads. So we have decided internally at MarketingProfs, that is one of the key metrics we're going to use is this view-through conversion. So when we look at that, we have almost 400 people who have seen a remarketing ad and then came back to purchase. And so what that's telling us is that our remarketing ads are working. People are seeing these and it's reminding them, and eventually they're getting back and they're taking the action. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're clicking on an ad right there and doing it, but they are coming back and taking the action. And when I look at my cost per view-through conversion, it's $59. So now I'm spending $59 to make $600 in each one of those purchases. So I've got an ROI of 10, which is phenomenal for us. So I'm really happy there. So in 2014, we kind of ran a somewhat light remarketing campaign. We spent $16K and we made $94K in revenue. That's great. It's not phenomenal, but it's good. We had about $6 per dollar spent versus just under $2 for all of our other external advertising. So of all the external advertising we do, remarketing is head and shoulders. It's 3 times better than anything else we do. Our conversion rate is more than 5 times better compared to all of our other external advertising that we do. 2015, we took a different approach. We said, okay, we've proven that remarketing can work. We know that it works for us. How can we optimize this? And so what we said was, we're going to start running campaigns that get people to a specific page just to get them cooking. Our goal is not to get them to a page to get them to buy something or to engage with us or do something. It's just to get them to this page so that they see the page and now their browser is cooking. And now we're going to serve remarketing ads to them to try to get them to pull them through that. So we spent $23,000 on it in this campaign last year. So it's not much more. We spent $7,000 more. And when we look at our click-through conversion rate, okay, we spent 23 to make 32. Again, it's positive, but it's not earth-shaking. But when we looked at these view-through conversions, all the people who had seen the remarketing ads and then taken the action, we made almost $150,000 in revenue. So when I can spend about 20 to make 150, that's great. That's phenomenal. So this year, our goal is, well, can we spend 40,000 to make 300,000? Or can we spend 60,000 to make almost $500,000? Is this scalable? So each year we're iterating this, and each year we're testing to see what works and what doesn't. What we saw last year was almost $6.50 per dollar spent. The conversion rate again is 5 times what we saw in our other external advertising. So this is a tool that works, and I can't emphasize that enough. It works. It works. It works. So here's our wrap. So remarketing, it is probably the most powerful way to get in front of your audience again. It's hands down. For us, it's shown our highest ROI for any external advertising. It's easy to set up. You have your goals, you set up your audiences, your tags, and your creative. And then the last part is always be testing. Test your creative. Test what you're serving people. Test where you're serving it in the funnel. Test the duration of how often you're serving the ads, how many times they see it, how long the ads last in your system. This is my obligatory funny slide that makes no sense. If I were to be trapped on a desert island with one marketing technology, it would be remarketing, which is kind of pointless because I do remarketing to myself, but still, that's how much I really like this. I really like remarketing. It is so effective and it's so fun. So just my images. So 2 special offers here for you guys as part of the BMA. If you're interested in becoming a member, you can go to this website here, mprof.com/bmac16. You can either sign up as a basic member or a pro member, whichever you like. I encourage you at least to check out the basic membership because it is free. If you do decide that you want to go the pro membership route, use that code BMAC16. It'll save you $100. The price standard is $279, so you get it for $179. That's for a year subscription. And there's enough content there to blow your minds. If you're interested in one of our MarketingProfs University courses, you can check out this site. It's mprof.com/bmac16, U at the end, U for university. And you use that same code BMAC16 and you can save on some of the courses that we offer. So if you're interested in either membership or one of the courses, check those out. You guys will you'll not be disappointed. So that's it. Thank you, BMA Carolinas, for letting me be here. And thanks you guys for listening for the last hour. And I'm open to any questions that you have. If you want to connect after the fact and continue the conversation, feel free. Here's my email address and my Twitter handle. But yeah, if you got questions, I'm happy to answer. Yes.
Have you seen any significant decreases or improvements with the new AdWords client emails that you're able to upload and create audiences directly that way? I know it's something Facebook's doing for, Facebook's always allowed you to do it, and
Yeah.
it's rolled out into AdWords.
We have not used that in AdWords. We've used it through Facebook to create lookalike audiences
Right.
and similar audiences, but we haven't done that in AdWords. So
Okay.
in Facebook, we have not seen a lot of effectiveness. It's hard. We have lists of marketers who are interested in X, Y, and Z, but it's marketers are very broad and dispersed groups. So when we create lookalike audiences, we get a lot of people there who may have the same interests but aren't actually marketers. That doesn't apply. So we haven't done that in AdWords yet.
Okay.
There was another, yes.
Ted, do you know who publishes the most reliable benchmarks in terms of click-through rate and other performance metrics? So we can get a better idea of what kind of results we can expect?
I don't. The reason for that
It's all
is
over the place.
it's all over the place, and it's so specific to you. Like I showed that for our, our conversion rate, we had a 4.9% conversion rate for remarketing. That might be great for one industry, and that might be abysmal for another one.
Right.
So we do have on our website, the MarketingProfs website, we have it's called the it's like the State of the Union, but it's the State of Marketing Report. Each year we come out with that in December. So that's on the website. It gives you a very broad aggregate overview of things, and it does have that in there, but it's not niche specific. It's just, we pulled 500 companies, and here's what average click-through rates were, here's average conversion rates for things. But it may not be as specific as what you're looking for.
I think it also depends on if you're doing it on AdWords or Facebook as well, the conversion rates are going to change on the platform.
Yeah.
Bing versus AdWords too, I always see a big difference there.
So nobody publishes it by industry? That I know of?
Not that I know, but I haven't actually looked specifically for industry because we're so industry agnostic at MarketingProfs. That's sort of where my mind is, because we appeal to all marketers regardless of industry, or at least we try to. So we don't focus on one industry. So I don't know, but I can do some digging and see what we have. Yes.
You said earlier that you guys are making the shift to AdWords
So
2016.
in 2016, that's one of the things that I want to explore with the team is using AdWords. I mean, we feel like we have a pretty good handle on Google, but I want to see what some of these other companies that we can do. And actually, AdWords is one of our sponsors for other things at MarketingProfs, but we've never used them from the remarketing side, so I'm going to try it out. But I haven't even looked at the software yet. That's one of my plans for the year. Do you use AdWords? Okay. Yes.
The lady over there asked about Asia, but we have a sister company in Germany, and they have a lot more restriction on using cookies and that type of thing. Are you seeing that? You said you guys are marketing worldwide, so how are you dealing with the various restrictions in different countries on what you can do?
So, like the UK, for example, and it might be the whole EU. I'd have to check with our webmaster, but we have to, when someone from one of those companies that has a restriction, or where you have to declare cookies, like UK websites, you have to declare that you are capturing cookies. So that is something that pops up on their site, and they have to either accept or reject it, but it's an activity that they have to do. So once they've come to our site, we have to tell you, yes, we're capturing these cookies, and then we can serve ads as appropriate. But if they reject that, or if they choose not to, then they're not cookied, they don't go into our audience, we're not serving to them, they're off the book, we don't touch them.
Okay.
All right.